Hello everyone, my name is Send, and welcome back to Torchlight Infinite. Today's video is my follow-up guide to Little Flash Carino with the wilt firebolt build that I showcased last time. Currently, I have invested a lot of FE into it, probably closing in on a couple thousand, I would think. And it's quite powerful. It's probably the strongest character I've played offensively. It had peaked around between 13 and 14 billion. It's more than capable of clearing all content that I've tried. Tier 8 Traveler, all regular versions of bosses. I cleared 3 stages in the event that we had not long ago. I believe it was 3. And yeah, it's quite powerful. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. I've min-maxed a little bit, not completely. There's still some space to improve the build, but it is where I'm gonna leave it because there's still 1 or 2 builds that I want to try this league. And also, I will probably be trying at some point a new league that's coming out for Diablo, see how that's improved compared to the base game. I didn't play much during the first league because there wasn't much to do. So I might be doing that in the future. But I still want to put out a build maybe for Gemma, the new Gemma, Flame of Pleasure, or Erica, not sure yet, but I do want to do that. Also, while following me for this, I don't believe it's in the footage that you're going to be seeing, but I did manage to drop an Eternity. It has come down in price quite a lot, as most items have. When I dropped it, it was around, it's over 1k FE. I didn't want to sell it because I wanted to use it on a future build. It's around 500 FE now, so I should have sold it. But at least we have it now, and I'll see what I'm going to be doing with that in the future. But for this build, it's been quite an enjoyable experience. It's a very powerful character. There's a couple of other builds that you can play with it. There's a lot of people playing Hammer of Ash, doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And a couple other options as well, like Burning Shot and whatnot. But I've enjoyed this wilt build. I haven't played a lot of dots, so this was very fun. Unique learning experience for me as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much. Right, to start with, let's go over all the important bits about the build. As you can see, we're still using the same setup of relics and memories. The only difference is I swapped to precise hit. In higher difficulty content, enemies don't die nearly as quickly, so you can have quite a decent usage of precise hit. I still think Dart Shot is good enough, especially if you like the added mobility from your skill. You can easily swap it for this, and it works fine, I think. If you're in a fight where in a particular boss you are having difficulty standing still and just hammering at the boss, then Dart Shot is potentially even better than Precise Hit. Next, to go over our passives. I don't believe I changed much here. Everything is pretty much the same. So I'll go over them very quickly. Pause if you need to copy anything. The big nodes are still the same: Plague and Subtle Impact. If I'm doing a boss, I tend to swap Plague for Windwalk. It's fine either way. It's not like you're gonna miss a kill or not have enough damage if you go for Plague. If you don't want to bother, but this should be more damage in a boss situation. Here I take Daze and More with Less. We no longer need verbal abuse in any way, but I'll talk about that in a second. And finally we have Dirt and Life Conversion. I did use Stealth Stab for a little bit when I swapped to Tier 8 farming, because it felt very dangerous in tier 8s without too much defenses. And it's still kind of dangerous in tier 8s at times, but we'll talk about that in a second. Here, we have now swapped to a pedigree of the gods with forbidden power. We also got a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage here. Max life, we don't really care, right? I put this little node here just to, because I had a single point, and we want to stay in chaos as quickly and as much as possible. So we increasing the speed which order stacks decrease, and we do that because we have this point here. Yeah. So here we have dot damage, shield mana, erosion, additional damage to life, and this little point which gives additional chance to get an additional stack of wilt. Here we have element damage ignores resistance, which for us means we just don't need to bother in any way, shape or form with erosion penetration. Then we have erosion damage, damage heap, which is very nice, and more erosion damage. Here, +1. It's about 20 C to buy, I believe. Sorry, 20 FE to buy. And got lucky enough, rolled this. So essentially this gives us almost permanent 80% additional, increased erosion damage, not additional. And finally, I have this one, a bit of resistance, erosion, attack, and cast speed and damage. Okay, they're good, I would say. They're pretty decent. There's a few very nice mods in here as well. Next on the skills, I think in our main link this is pretty set in stone. I don't think there's anything else I would swap in or out here. We have 4-star defense layers, so it cannot be interrupted. The recharge of ES, cooldown recovery, and rhythm. If you want a bit more control, you can go without rhythm and just swap to something like extended duration, perhaps. Or even, no, this reduces, yeah, no. So probably extended duration, I would think. Blink, we just have a quick mobility magic dash for an additional charge, right? Corruption, Terrain of Malice, Abyssal Hatred, and Scorch Pulse to actively reap damage of our target. For auras, I have Steadfast as a 14 because I cannot fit anymore. This display is bugged. I had to swap my auras a bunch of times, as you can see, because somehow the display of sealed mana, sealed life is bugged. And if I level it further, it breaks. And this game, contrary to PoE, doesn't have any way to down level a gem as far as I know. If it does, please let me know. And I kept rebuying them and re-leveling them to find a sweet spot. But yeah, Deep Pain, Magic Source, Steadfast on our life. You can and would like to aim for precise deep aim. That's because it gives you a lot of affliction inflicted from it and just makes our ramp quicker. Then we have precise curse on hit, precise corrosion imbuement. Precise corrosion imbuement is very good. It gives us more base wilt damage. Base wilt is a phenomenal stat for us. Gives us a lot of damage. And lastly, Entangle Pain. Now, we have 2 curses here because we have gotten this candle, which took me a second to farm, but we did get there. The parabolic projectile trajectory are more scattered after splitting, doesn't mean anything for us, it's fine. On top of that, we got some extra damage, so very nice candle to get. Meta candle, or effect, damage. Curse skill radius is fine, but it's nothing special. And lastly here, oops. That's deactivated. There we go. We have Energy Fortress, Elemental Resistance, Erosion Enhancement, Precise Projectiles, Restrain, and Stand as 1. Right? Stand as 1 is very, very powerful gem Also quite expensive. Same thing for restrain. This allows us to fit all of our auras that we want, and we want all these 4 linked to stand as one, because all of them are getting 7% increased aura effect, which allows us to get nearly 9k ES with our setup. Now, for our gear. And don't mind this, I was testing a couple of other skills and I needed a gun for it. We're still using our memory, right? But that's about it. Every other piece has kind of been swapped in and out. So let's go from the top. Here, we just got +1 base, because it's a spell, it scales very well from level. And we got as much ES as possible, and resistances. As you can see, we're maxed out on all resistances. Evil Art Armor, this is giving us ridiculous amounts of damage. We inflict 2 additional wilt stacks on hit, but have a small chance to remove all wilt when we hit the enemy. 3% seems small, but it does happen quite frequently. However, this allows us to stack wilt to up to 4, sometimes 500 stacks of wilt, and that's a massive amount of damage gained from this. Here we have a +2, as well as base wilt damage, and after that just take whatever defensive stats you can on it. Resistance, max CS, affliction effect is a nice addition as well for offense. Crossroad, optimally a corroded one with the final mod corroded would be very good. Right, next we got our belt. I went for just as much defense as I can, as well as affliction effect. Right, cap our resistance, get as much ES, as much evasion, and defense. Defense will scale our ES and evasion quite nicely. We don't have a ridiculous amount of evasion, but it's always nice to get a little bit, right? We don't have massive amounts of mitigation for physical. So, as you can see, we have about 25%, 26%. This allows us to dodge a few hits every now and then, and hopefully give us enough time to have our first start to recuperate our ES. Here, we've got ES, erosion, movement, very poor movement actually. I could just upgrade that. I should just upgrade that. That's my mistake. But I believe the resistance aren't doing anything yet. Oh, it is, okay. So a bit of erosion, a bit of movement or effect is quite nice, but there's not a lot of spots here that we can get it realistically. We need the resistance here for lightning and erosion, right? So we could drop the cold and try to get aura. That's something that you can do. And then on the rings, I went with just defense as much as I could here. And here, max ES was very nice. Affliction. Optimally, I would like to be able to drop one of these defense down here for affliction, but I'm pretty stuck with this ring for its defensive. So it is what it is, right? Lastly, I have affliction here, defensives, ailment damage, max ES, spell damage. And now the weapon. Now, this is a ridiculous piece, right? This has... So I upgraded both the spell skill level and adds skill damage to base wilt damage. And then I got extremely lucky and got double tier 0, tier 1 on the suffixes. Realistically, I got incredibly greedy and tried to craft another prefix, which was additional ailment damage, which is not a guarantee. I should have been smart and crafted either enchanted dot damage or crafted dot damage, because that's 100% chance. So don't do that. Or do. Go for the gamble. It's 1 in 4. Why not, right? But this is an incredible piece. and very difficult to replicate. I don't know if this has, like, what value this is, right? But it is very expensive, right? There's nothing like this on the market. This is thousands probably of a fee. Not quite sure. Never had a piece like this, but very powerful. And I think that's all there is about the character. It is currently doing, because of this chest, it can be RNG and difficult to showcase on the dummy, but I have gotten it to do around 13 billion damage, I think, was the highest. But it can very quickly get to 10 or 11 billion. But you can see the wilt stacks on the dummy reset very often, and if you get a good streak, then it will go all the way up to 13. Maybe even further, I'm not entirely sure. But it does quite a lot of damage. And I'll showcase it here a little bit. Right, 11, and it will go further. But let me showcase a little bit on a map. Let's see if we have a tier 8. We do not have a tier 8, but we can buy one, why not? We have money? Oh no, I don't, because I transferred it all to a new character. That's unfortunate. So I'll just put some footage here of a tier 8 map. I'll swap some stuff around and get a tier 8 map to show you guys. But it's very quickly. It's not incredibly tanky. I think that's where the build kind of is still lacking, especially to physical damage. We're not very tanky to it. But there is some stuff that you could do with it. Maybe get some mods like reduce damage while your mana is low. Maybe try to stack some deflections on top of, take the node that gives you deflections on top of the forbidden power that we have on our pedigree of the gods, right? There's a node in one of these, which God knows if I remember. No, I don't remember right now, but there's a node in your passive tree that gives you deflection, right? You could try and grab that. And there's a couple more options to make it more tanky. As in where to try and get more damage out of this, if you'd like. Personally, I think you could either get a defensive on your pedigree of the gods or just go for a second damage, right? You could also try and get precise here for quicker scaling. You could get better candles, right? This is not particularly insane. You could try and go for better pieces, right? These aren't properly optimized. This doesn't have any offensive here, right? This has a low roll of affliction effect. This weapon, to be fair, it's, if you can get this, you're doing great. A corrosion on this, a corrosion on this. You can get a corrosion here to add 30% of the base damage of the skill to wilt damage. That would be very good. You could get a corrosion on this, especially here, but also spell damage here, right? So there's a couple of places we can improve. We could get a tier 0 at space wilt damage, right? There's quite a few places that we can still improve the build. However, I want to try different builds, put out more content for you guys, showcase different builds that you guys might like. I think next I'm either playing Erica with the sentries, or I'm playing the new jump with something funky. I'm not decided yet if I'm gonna go for the Caswell channeling build that everybody is playing. It is incredibly strong. Or if I'm gonna try something a little bit more hipster, a little bit of a less known skill. We'll see how it goes. if I can get that to work or not, but I have some ideas. Right. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. It's quite a fun build. I haven't played many dot builds in the past, so this was very unique. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.